Rescue is going over the edge. Copy that.
We're lowered? Yeah. So you just keep those on that. Let's go! Get going slow! Really slow!
Hey, I'm Carson DeLapp. I'm an IFMGA mountain guide and I work on a few different rescue teams. Today we're going to look at some of these lightweight mountain rescue systems that have a high level of efficiency. As we've kind of progressed out of more like rope access style equipment, stuff when we work out of the fire truck, that stuff's great. It has a lot of built-in safety with it, but we're looking at more mountain rescue style things, but we've been able to kind of like get those down into more compact packages without losing our efficiency. And the cool part about that is these systems are really light and they can come in quite a small package. So some of the equipment that we're going to look at replacing is stuff like this. So here I've got a clutch. It's kind of heavy, a little over 2 pounds. And you'd back it up with things like the Petzl ASAP. These things are highly efficient. This has a pulley in it, so when we start doing mechanical advantage systems, it's really efficient to get those systems to go up. It's also a lowering device, which is really good, so we can just turn around and flip the load and put it back down. These things are awesome, but they're just heavy. And so if we're not really working out of like a fire truck or rescue truck right off the road, or within just half mile or something of the road, these things are probably not going to be as efficient as we like, carrying them in. So what are we moving to? We're moving to a dual main system that fits in this bag here. So, it's basically just some Prussiks, belay devices, and slings with a few pretty efficient pulleys in it. And so, just this little package. We're going to go over here and look at it in a second and put it into use. Okay, so here we have our system. And basically we start out with some VT Prussiks in the max over 1 configuration. And then we move to, we've got a pulley that's in between the VT Prussik that's not engaged right now. That's actually just for when we do the raise. And then of course we've got a couple slings in the system there that extend those out. But right now the rope comes up and through to 2 belay devices, 1 on each side. Those go to a sling extended a bit so that we can have a redirect that you can see over here in the back. So that redirect is what's keeping our belay devices in the braking plane. And I'll come up over here so we can see the whole system again. So it is just the dual mainline system, which of course provides for a lot of safety, but also a lot of maneuverability to pass knots, or if things go awry, we have 2 ropes in the system and can just start to rely on one. This whole system can also be done in just a single rope technique if that's all you have for some reason in the mountain environment. The paw is also key for this, just the small paw. It's really nice to separate all of this stuff. Obviously it could be done with just a master point and carabiners in the system, a little less fluid. What we have in the back, and I'll usually hang the pulleys. So we got a tib lock, just super light rope grab with the Petzl roll and lock carabiners. And those will actually go in front of the system for the pulley system when you'll see that here in a second. Okay, so we have Chris here getting ready to run the system. And so he's managing both lines on this lower, which go up through the redirect and then back through the plates. Behind him here we have Kevin, who's just being the tailer. He's a backup belay. This takes the human factor out of it. If for some reason Chris decides that he's gonna let go or something happens to the system, we have some backup in that system by having another human with their hands on the device. All right, so now we're ready to start lowering our rescuer out. And so what Chris is doing here is called smoking. So he's just pushing the VT prusiks to where he can push slack through them. And of course, single rescuer on here, there's a lot of friction in there. So Shell's really having to lean back hard to get that to move. So one of the huge benefits of the system is Shell's going to ask for slack here on her left rope, in which case she's going to clip it up high to the carabiner. So right now, Chris is letting rope out on one system, and the other system actually has her tight.
You even unlock for your second revision. All right, let me get tension on this one.
So now, our first rope's in. We're going to tension it back up through the device, set it again. And Chris will then give slack on the second. Now we have both ropes through our high directional, which for the lower we'll just use as a carabiner to provide a bit more friction on the way down as we lower our rescuer down to the victim.
Okay, ready? All righty. How's the speed?
Good.
Okay, our rescuer is now at the bottom, so Chris is going to transition to a raise. He's going to reset the system here, and he's setting both of these hitches to make sure, since the rescuer already has enough slack for what they need, but they are on a ledge, so they're not off the system down there, so we don't want to take them completely off. So now what he'll do is he'll tie a knot in the brake strand of the rope, and this just makes sure that, you know, if anything goes wrong or somebody bumps those hitches, that this knot isn't going to go through. We just call that a catastrophe knot or whatever. So now we've got that in there. So now you can go ahead and tear down the lowering devices or descent devices, which in this case were Petzl reversos. And generally we'll have, you know, one team member work on one side, one team member work on the other side. So we're going to let those hang there just in case we would need to go back to a lowering system for some reason. And so now we're going to grab these tib locks with the pulleys, and we're going to use those out in front to create a 3-to-1 on each strand. So obviously he's got one set up. If we had another member of the team working on the other side, we'd already have the other side set up and we'd be ready to raise. All right, so now you can see we have a 3-to-1 system that's super efficient with fairly high efficient pulleys in there. And of course we've got the self-tending max over 1 hitch. And so we're ready to raise. You can raise with one person on each side, like we have right here. Or you can have both members of the party or all of the members of the party pull both systems at the same time. So now we're getting our max throw. Chris has pushed the systems out.
Ready to raise? Ready.
Our rescuer is ready to raise. So 2 rescuers can pull up the load fairly easily here. This is a single person load. If we had a 2-person load, we'd probably want another rescuer pulling on the system.
Reset.
When you go to reset, it's always nice to not let that slack go back through, in which case you put the hitches back out and then you don't lose anything. And then we can run our tractors back down the line. Notice they're pulling very smooth, they're not jerking the load.
Reset. Coming across the top. Reset.
Our rescuer is now at the top. We're just going to belay some slack out.
Okay.
Now she can come into a safe position.
These are slick.
Yeah, they are, especially in climbing.
With this system.